Hi, my name is Shawn King of Starting Point Photography. StartingPointPhotography.com is the website. You can always email me to Shawn, SHAWN, at StartingPointPhotography.com. This is hopefully going to be a series of brief tutorials helping beginning photographers create better images. We all have cameras nowadays, whether it's our iPhones or Android phones, little point and shoots, big fat DSLRs. My goal is to help the beginner learn how to take better pictures. This time of year, Christmas, the holiday season, we are often in low light conditions. Remember, photography is about capturing light, not dark. You don't take pictures of dark, you take pictures of light. So this time of year, we get less light. The days are shorter. We're often inside in darker conditions. We're in pubs. We're in family homes. And it can make taking good pictures this time of year really, really difficult. What you need to do is figure out how to manipulate your camera in such a way that it increases its ability to capture light. Now, one of the problems a lot of us have is we have camera phones. I have my iPhone. And these are great cameras for phones. They're not necessarily cameras to begin with. One of the issues you have is that the object that captures light is this little itty bitty tiny little thing here. Obviously, that can't capture a whole lot of light, which is why the iPhone in particular, and I'm sure other Android phones, is not particularly good when it comes to low light conditions. So what you need to do is figure out which camera you have and how you can create more light, whether it's turning on more lights or whether it's manipulating light itself. We'll talk about those kind of things on future episodes. Right now, I want to talk about a thing called Aperture. Now, Aperture is, you've all seen slow motion shots of cameras, shutters opening and closing. Well, that opening is the aperture. How fast it opens is the shutter speed, but the opening is the aperture. That opening is measured by something called f-stop. And weirdly enough, photographers talk about this kind of stuff backwards. The wider open the aperture is, the smaller the number. So an f3 is a really, really big opening, and an f22 is a really tiny opening. I know it's counterintuitive. Maybe I'll explain that in some other episode. So what you want to do is learn how to manipulate your camera so that it opens up as wide as it can. Obviously, the wider it's open, the more light that comes in. So in low light conditions, you want a wide open aperture or a small aperture number. So if you have a DSLR, take your DSLR, and there's a dial on the top of it, and it's going to have letters on it. M, A, S, P, TV, AV, that kind of stuff. On your particular camera, find out what aperture priority is. On Nikons, it's A. On Canons, it's AV. And I'm not sure what it is in other manufacturers. Send me an email to Shawn at StartingPointPhotography.com if you want to let me know what it is on Sony's or Panasonic's or other things like that. So what you do is you open you set yourself to aperture priority. And what that does is it tells the camera, I'm going to choose the aperture. You figure out everything else. So your camera will figure out shutter speed and exposure and ISO and all those other technical things. You're going to focus on aperture. Let the camera work everything else out. So set it to aperture priority, and then using one of the spinny buttons, either in the front or the back of your camera, set your aperture number to the lowest number you see, either on the lens or on a little screen or on the back, wherever it might be on your particular camera. The numbers can go as low as f1.4 if you have a 50 millimeter. I've got a 50 millimeter. It's got f1.8. This particular lens is f3.5. So what you want to do is make that number as low as it can, because what that'll do is, again, conversely, the low number means a wider open aperture. The wider open it is, the more light it can gather. Other things that go into that too, and we'll talk about those on another segment. If you have any questions about photography in general, beginning photography in particular, please send me an email. I'm happy to try to answer any questions that you might have. Again, my name is Shawn King. This is Starting Point Photography. StartingPointPhotography.com. Until next time, thanks very much. See ya.